That's right, you heard it before the show began. He is back. Comedian Jay Cooper, whoever the hell that bastard is, he's back in studio. The Coop Troop reigns supreme once again, broadcasting on the most popular radio network online in the Pittsburgh area. That's right here at the River's Edge Radio Network. Pittsburgh's voice for local music, and lots of great comedians here. I'm really excited to have Jay back. I don't know about you. I'm pretty pumped. I miss having Jay. Jay was like a staple to this show. Jay was with us from the beginning. Jay was actually with us before the beginning. For those of you who are new, Jay Cooper's a great local comedian. He actually started doing a little bit of radio with me before the River's Edge radio network existed, before the actual River's Edge podcast started. He was with me all the way back in my days at 91.9 WCAL out in California. So he only appeared, I think, on that program once. He may have appeared at WPTS once, but then he was in either the first or second episode of the River's Edge podcast before we actually turned into a network, back in the old closet studio. So he is back, and he's going to be back every first and third Saturday of the month. So definitely stay tuned for that. I am Pittsburgh's moral compass, your voice of reason among three rivers of chaos. And today we have some interesting things to talk about. We have Jordan York. He will be appearing here in studio, we think. Everybody's kind of running late. I guess there's a lot of traffic on Route 28, according to Mike McMullen, who will also be here. He is performing double duty today. Mike is responsible for Jordan being on the program, so thank you, Mike McMullen. Mike deals with two soccer players down in Florida, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. But those soccer players are working collaboratively with Jordan York. Speaking of soccer and sports, we will have Matt Gajtka of Gajtka's Got Game and DK on PittsburghSports.com. He is out of the state covering the Pirates currently, but he will be on the phone. He's going to call in. He's going to pull a Mike McMullen on us, and he's going to call in on the phone. I feel like this is like the role reversal. We have Mike McMullen in studio, and we have Matt Gajtka calling in. So it'll be a little change up there. He just walked in, actually. But Matt Gajtka, he'll be on. He's going to give our sports update. And we're going to talk a lot today about music and sports, and how music and sports can be connected. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you think about it, what's more entertaining, really, the NFL or the awesome orchestral music that starts and ends every NFL segment? You know what I mean? What do they have, like the one with the chimes? I can't remember what it's called. The chiming one, that's pretty sweet. There's all sorts of, one guy like writes all of, you can put those on, yeah. One guy writes all of the music for the NFL, and it's fantastic. So music and sports, they've always been connected, at least for a long time. And there's no water in there, Mike. If you have to go to the bathroom out there, that bathroom doesn't work. Mike's trying to get water because it's like an oven here in this studio, and he's in a full suit. So, but sports and music. I was in the high school band, and I can actually prove it. I was pretty much a badass. Here's a picture of me, if you're watching on the video, me in the high school band being a complete badass, just like I am today here on the radio. And when is that not working either? No, we're good. Okay. When I was in band, it was an interesting dynamic, and the marching bands have always gone along with college football and high school football, and I know Baltimore actually has their own band. The Steelers have a drum line, so music and sports have always gone together. And we're going to talk about soccer, and I'm sure even before they had any type of music in the arena, if you've ever been to a football match or a soccer game, as they call it here, you'll always see a supporter section that's just going crazy. They have some of the best fans in the world, and they're always singing songs. They come up with their own full songs, and it's really pretty fantastic. But again, badass here. Actually, I guess it's the other way. Badass right here in my marching band uniform if you're watching on the video. It's pretty sick. But when I was in band, it was really an interesting dynamic because, and I don't know how it was in your high school band. We used to classify bands in two ways. We said that there were competition bands and there were football bands. And football bands they existed because there was a football team. And the football team wanted a band. So they got a band. There's a marching band. They often stood in place. They didn't do as many intricate things, but they often played more popular music, and there's nothing wrong with that. When I was in high school, I kind of looked down on football bands, and I kind of regret that I did not join the Norwin High School I'm sorry, I was in Norwin High School. I did not join the Cal U marching band because they were a football band, and I had this opinion of football bands, which I think was unfortunate because they had a lot of fun and they put together great music. They were great people. But again, that was in the back of my mind. In Norwin, there was so much feuding between the football team and the band. I remember, and it got better. It's gotten better over the years. The football coach was fired. The band coach was actually fired as well, or he resigned. But when those two got out of the picture, things started to get better. But to be honest, I kind of miss the old days because there was so much rivalry, so much anger between the band and the football team because the band at Norwin was awesome. We won. We're the only band. Currently, we're still the only band in the country to win regionals in 5 different decades. Norwin, really good. They won Grand Nationals in 1982 with a theme that was actually called "Nobody Does It Better." And they were outstanding. The football team, on the other hand, was terrible. I remember when I was in there, they would lose the Loser Bowl every year. And if you're not familiar with WPIAL, the Loser Bowl is basically they pick the worst teams and they give them one final game. And it's not supposed to be called the Loser Bowl, but everyone knows it as the Loser Bowl because it's the losers. It's the ones who didn't make the playoffs. Norwin would always lose the Loser Bowl. I think they lost it 4 years in a row while I was there, so they were the biggest loser, so to speak. But whenever we were in the band my freshman year, we stood on the end zone. Now, as things got changed over the years, we ended up getting stands in the seats, but they had stands for us in the end zone, and we played there. And I remember when the football team would come on, the band would stand up, and they would get all excited, and they would go, "Boo! You suck!" and scream and jeer the football team about how awful they were. And we were right. I mean, we were better than them. We won all the time. But that's not always how it is with sports and music. Often they work hand in hand. In Norwin, we often thought it was a waste of our time to perform at the football games. Up next, we're going to bring Matt Gajtka. We're going to give him a call here in just a minute, and we're going to talk sports with him. And maybe I'll ask him what his sports music connection is, what gets him going. Is it Renegade at the Steelers game? Is it the I don't know, what do they play at the pierogi race? Is it that song? He's the Pirates beat writer. That's got to get him some groove. I'm going to ask Matt Gajtka what his favorite sports music connection is up next on the River's Edge Radio Network.
Hey, this is Mike Sasson. If you've been searching for something to do with your pathetic life, guess what? This ain't it. But it'll kill about an hour. It's the Mike Sasson Show, starting 10 a.m. on July 19th, going to 11. It's going to be a lot of fun here on the River's Edge, a new kind of radio.
All right, I am here on the phone with Matt Gajtka of Gajtka's Got Game and DK on Pittsburgh Sports, who's actually out of the state right now. Where are you, Matt?
I'm well out of the state. I'm practically out of the country. I'm in San Diego, California for the Major League Baseball All-Star game. So I got here yesterday, and today the workout day and the home run derby, and looking forward to it.
Very cool. So that's got to be exciting. Have you been to an All-Star game before?
I've never been in the building for one. I was in Pittsburgh, in fact, PNC Park. It's been 10 years since they hosted it back in 2006, but I won tickets to I won tickets to the workout day. It was Sunday, in fact.
Very cool. Yeah, I know that was a big thing for Bob O'Connor when he was in office, was getting that All-Star game here.
That's right. Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. So what's going on? I mean, the Pirates are, from my understanding, they're starting to rebound a little.
Yes, as I discussed on my show last week, things are looking up for them, and they took a series 2 out of 3 from the Cubs, the team they're chasing in the National League Central. It's still a long shot that they'll catch them in the second half. 73 games to go, and they're 7.5 games behind. But they've done really well in getting back at least into playoff contention. They're 3 games over the 500 mark at the break, and it wasn't looking very likely they'd be there when they went 9-19 in June. They at one point lost 20 of 26, but they've rebounded. They've gotten some young contributions: Adam Frazier, Josh Bell, Jamison Tyone, Chad Kuhl, Stephen Brault, Tyler Glass. Now all these guys have come up from the minor leagues to make their debuts over the last month or so, and that's been a little bit refreshing. And the offense continues to churn along. The pitching has been just good enough, especially the bullpen. And they have managed to win, I believe it's 12 out of 15 in total.
Okay. Yeah, and that's one thing that's kind of fascinating about baseball versus other sports, other professional sports, is you can be out of the picture, and there are so many games, and it's such a long season that you can come back. It's not like football where, American football where, you lose a couple big games and you're basically just hoping and praying that somebody else messes up so bad that you can get back in. Baseball, you really have at least the opportunity to make it interesting.
Right, and to put it in perspective, the Pirates, and I said 7.5 back, they're 8.5 back, but they've made up 7 games over the past 3 weeks because the Cubs have been struggling and they've been playing well. So that illustrates exactly what you were talking about, that there's just so many of them, so many opportunities to make something happen, but also because of that larger sample, it tends to even out over the long haul, and talent usually prevails over 6 months. And
sure.
I still believe the Cubs are the better team, but I also believe the Pirates are good enough to make the postseason, whether it be host the wild card game, go on the road for it. I don't know if they're going to win the division. That still seems like such a long shot, but they're in it, and it should lead to meaningful baseball here in late July, August, and September.
Are you worried about a wild card game? Because I'll be honest, I am. The Pirates' pitching isn't, I don't feel, as strong as it has been in the last couple years, and in a wild card game, that's pretty much what you need to really make it in a wild card game, right? It's that one game playoff, and if somebody has an unstoppable pitcher, then you're done.
Yeah, it does help, certainly, to have that. And but you've also seen other teams win in wild card games that have been more offensive. I think the Pirates have been just at the receiving end of a couple of pretty brutal beatings from opposing starters. Jake Arrieta last year and Madison Bumgarner 2 years ago. And, they had their own guy, Francisco Liriano, pitched very, very well in 2013. But I'm not sure I'd be in a position, if I were the Pirates, to be worried about a wild card, because they at one point had about a 2% chance to make the playoffs last month. So you almost have to be grateful for that opportunity and not look at it as a curse, and just deal with the reality of the situation. Yes, I think they would be in a disadvantage against, say, the New York Mets, who have 3 or 4 ace quality starters, or you look down the list, the Giants are again in position there, the Dodgers, those are all teams they could face. The Nationals, they all have one pitcher who is better than anyone on the Pirates staff, at least at the moment. So yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I think it's if there's any kind of fear in there, it's definitely from more of the fan base than the team, because they just want a shot at this point.
Sure. Can explain the situation for you as someone in the media going to the All-Star game. What's it like there? Is it? I imagine there's a lot of rushing around, and it's almost. I could be completely wrong. I've never done it, but I imagine it would almost be more of a TMZ type culture rather than a true sports journalist culture, with all of the celebrities and things like that would come to a game like that. Am I correct?
I think so. Well, this is my first time covering one, but I've been to some of the fan festivities, as I mentioned, in Pittsburgh, and that type of culture that you're talking about, that celebrity-focused culture, that maybe non-serious coverage, I suppose, non-serious sports coverage has only increased in frequency in the last decade. And I noticed yesterday, I'm one of several hundred reporters here. So and some are more sports focused than others. Some are just general entertainment reporters. Some are news reporters. So you get the whole gamut here, and you have to fight for your space and fight for your time with some of the athletes. But for instance, last night you had it was really it's an interesting juxtaposition. Yesterday was the Futures game, which features a whole bunch of high-level prospects, but it's definitely a baseball junkies type smorgasbord. And then you have the celebrity softball and legends game. So it's both ends of the spectrum. You have for the diehards and the casuals. So it just tells you kind of how the mix is here for the All-Star Week. And today will be more of the same, because you have opportunities to talk to each of the players about in-depth baseball stuff, and then you have the Home Run Derby, which is more just kind of fun and frivolous.
We have Jordan York, who's going to be on the station, and this is kind of taking us in a different direction, but it's kind of the show topic for today, and I think it's relevant for you, being that you're so obviously involved in loving sports. Otherwise, you wouldn't have taken it up as a profession. But Jordan York is a local musician, and he's teaming up with two soccer players down in Florida, and we're going to talk about that story in a little bit. But they're working on a music video, and we were talking about the connection between sports and music, and how they interact and how they can kind of build each other up. Especially you look at like the NFL with the theme music, or the Penguins da 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 da, all of that stuff. Or on the football level with college and high school, you have marching bands and things like that, and in basketball you often have bands that are performing. So what is your favorite sports music connection, or what's something that you've experienced personally that you remember that maybe music added to the event, or vice versa?
I always like when in video production, when music is the backing track for highlights or anything like that. I think that goes back to watching NFL films when I was a kid, and they have the wonderful orchestral music there, and the narration as well. It gives it more of a, I think that really helped increase not just footballs, but sports standing as a kind of a serious cultural thing in America, and it's only become bigger and bigger. But you know what I like, whether it would be playing sports or watching, I always enjoy, say you go to a Penguins game and the team goes out for the warm-up and they play music during it.
Sure.
That always, that you do the same thing in basketball for warm-ups, do the same thing in baseball for batting practice. That for me is such an effective way to zone in as a player or as a fan. It's all you don't have to use any kind of fancy words to describe it. You just zone in, you get absorbed in the atmosphere, and it's nice to turn the brain off, turn the left side of the brain off, and just enjoy the aesthetics of the sound and the and all the sights that you see there. So that's why I always want to get to a hockey game early. I just love watching the warm up. I love watching the guys skate around, get ready to go, get the blood pumping, the adrenaline up with the music playing.
See, my favorite is going to a hockey game, a college hockey game, when it's a big event and you've got the band performing. Cal U, for their homecoming, they always would have, the band would be there, the cheerleaders, the dance team. I mean, it was like an entire festival, and it was all live performances. And whenever the band plays in a hockey arena, it just echoes and booms through the entire building. And it's fantastic, and I just think it adds so much, especially when you get to an event like the Frozen Four, where you've got bands from both teams, and it's almost like the bands are battling each other as well as the players on the ice.
And I worked at Robert Morris University, and still do help them out with broadcasting and things like that. I completely agree. Even in that small building that we have on the island, the 84 Lumber Arena, that you get. It's just a small pet band. It's maybe 10 or 15 members, but they get it rolling, and there's nothing like it. It's just an awesome soundtrack. You hear so much recorded music, and nothing wrong with that. But when you have live music, I understand completely why it's so captivating for people. It's almost two aspects of performance art, sports and music, right in front of you, combining.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's one of my favorite things to experience. So, all right, Matt, I won't take up any more of your time. I'm sure you want to get another nap in before you head out. So thank you for waking up early and taking some time with us.
I'm not a great napper, Brian. I'm going to head down to the gym, I think. I'm just going to try to get into the flow of Pacific time for the next couple of days.
Sounds
but good to be with you. Thanks for having me.
You as well. It's Matt Gajtka. You can catch him Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. now. I'm sorry, Friday mornings at 8 a.m. now here on the River's Edge Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Tom, and I know money.
And I'm Matt, and I know funny.
Catch us Thursday mornings at 7 a.m. Real financial information
For the regular guy.
right here at riversedgepgh.com.
Your voice for local music.
So, Cranberry Police Department, they now are using bicycles. That's their new thing. They've decided that they wanted to start using bikes to get closer to the public. So, you know what this really means. You know what this really means. The bike lobby has gotten to the police. The bike lobby has gotten to the police, and now you know our fate is sealed. Those people will never be held accountable because the police are now among them. We're just screwed. We're screwed. That's it. It's the end. We're done. Absolutely done. There's it. Game over. Checkmate. They've won. I'm going to do whatever I can, anything in my power to stop them and make sure that we, the vehicular drivers of Pittsburgh, the people, let's just say we're the more superior ones. We are the elevated people in Pittsburgh. We're the ones that embrace technology. We are not the ones who shun it. And I will do whatever I can, everything in my power, to make sure that the roads come back to us. 30 seconds, your weird news here on the River's Edge.
Hey, everybody out there, this is Mike Sasson, stand-up comedian, broadcaster, all-around great guy. Starting July 19th, guess what you're going to get? That's right, another white guy's opinion. It's the Michael Sasson Show. It's going to be premiering July 19th at 10 a.m. here on the River's Edge, a new kind of radio.
Ugh. Ugh. Ugh, don't stop. Ugh. A Pennsylvania woman has pleaded guilty in a disorderly conduct charge and essentially was arrested for having sex too loudly. The York Daily Record reports that a woman pleaded guilty Wednesday and was sentenced to 45 to 90 days in jail when she already served the remaining sentence on another case. Basically, her neighbor complained because she was very loud and was having sex, and she was very, very loud. So I guess she was then threatening her neighbor for complaining about her loud sex. Now, anyone who's ever been to Cal U has experienced a neighbor who's very loudly having sex. So I'm sure most of you can relate. Yeah, I don't know, like, I remember when I was a kid just, like, hearing screaming above my head. That was a big thing. There's neighbors now that are a little bit noisy, but yeah, sex, that's the new thing. Do not have sex too loudly, or you will pay the price. Up next, we're trying to get Jordan York in. He's supposed to be in. We're waiting on him, but he's up next, allegedly, here on the River's Edge Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Mike Storer, host of the Awesome Cast, which you can hear right here on River's Edge Radio. We're talking tech, getting geeky every week with people from Pittsburgh in the industry. Go check us out, awesomecast.net, or listen to us right here on River's Edge Radio, Thursday mornings, 8 a.m. after Funny Money.
Would you be interested in developing conscious choice? Would you be interested in creating reactions rather than waiting for one to come? Would you be interested in combining serendipity and synchronicity? Would you be interested in making 1 + 1 = 3? Would you be interested in finding out about full impact mindfulness? If so, I challenge you to join myself, Jim Ellermeyer, a cognitive behavioral health therapist, every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the River's Edge, where we will challenge you to allow us to help you help yourself to fully participate in your life. Let the adventure begin.
Hey, what's going on, Coop Troop? This is comedian Jay Cooper letting you know that I will be back at the River's Edge Radio Show July 16th at 10 a.m. So y'all need to listen in. And if y'all ain't listening in, that means y'all ass might be a hood rat.
All right, we are back on the River's Edge Radio Network, and we've tracked down Jordan, and you have to understand, important people often are late. The world revolves around them. I understand that as another local Pittsburgh celebrity, so I definitely can understand how these things can happen. I mean, it's the nature of the business. When you're just so popular and in such demand, people just, they just have to make accommodations, right?
I guess. I'm not usually like this. It's Monday, so that's
No, it's all good. No, I mean, I go to places and, people open doors for me, so I'm just saying I can relate. That's all. So.
Fair enough.
Yes. But you're working on a big project, and I'm very excited. We were talking all day about the connection between sports and music, and you're working with two twins, Connor and Calvin Rezendi, is that correct? And we have Mike McMullen with us as well. He's kind of the mastermind that's set all of this up. He's with us here every week. He's doing double duty this week. I believe next week you'll be doing triple duty. Yes, he'll be doing triple duty next week. So he'll be back to his normal phone call. We'll have his picture up on the screen if you're watching on the video. But this is very cool, and it's an interesting story, and they're the only twins in Major League Soccer that are playing on the same team.
Well, a little backup. There's Major League Soccer, USL Soccer, and the North American Soccer League. They're the only set of twins actually in all of the United States in all three divisions. They play in the North American Soccer League for Miami FC, but they're the only set of twins on the same team from Davie, Florida, from Broward County. But they're the only set of twins in the entire country. So
which is awesome.
Honestly, I'm very biased. It's a big freaking deal.
Yeah, they're like the Sedin twins in hockey, only for football or soccer, as you commoners say.
Worldwide, so it's honestly even bigger than football, to be honest.
Correct. When I approached Jordan with this, I think outside the box. I never sleep as it is. 528, I messaged him on Facebook Messenger. I said, hey, I've got this crazy idea. Long story short, after a month of negotiating and everything, we signed a deal July 1st, and we're going to be going down to Davie, Florida, July 24th or 26th to video it.
Yeah, that'll be cool. And are you into soccer, Jordan? Have you gotten into it before?
I've caught in a few Riverhound games in Pittsburgh before. I watched the World Cup. Root for Italy. I'm Italian. But yeah, I'm excited. The thing that people don't realize is that sports and music connect so much. And for me to I'm a sports lover. Like, I don't watch TV. I have ESPN on, like, when I fall asleep, when I wake up.
Yeah, I know you're a sports fan based on your postings and things like that.
It's just the culture of it. I love it. Obviously, you can't be from Pittsburgh and not like sports. And I was born in Miami. So it's kind of like my homecoming, and this is like a big deal because, they're pro soccer players, we're doing this song, and it's going to tell the story, about their life, and, it's me coming back to my roots. So it's like, honestly, this is a blessing. I'm very grateful for everything, so.
Now, you are from Florida. Why did you move to snowy Pittsburgh? Because most of us are trying to go the other direction.
Yeah, well, I was young and didn't have a choice. My father, unfortunately, passed away when I was younger, and it's fine. And my mom moved back up here, and my family's originally from here.
Okay.
So, Pittsburgh, we stayed here. I still go down and visit. My aunt lives down there still and still have some family. So, I was born in Dade County and then moved up here to snowy Pittsburgh and been here since. So.
Now, do you have any twins in your family?
No. Well, my brother could be my twin, but we're not twins.
Okay,
no,
you neither?
I have a younger brother, 2 years younger.
Can either of you tell the two twins apart on the team? Just if they weren't together, like if they just came up to you and they said, hey, what's up? Would you be like, hey, Calvin, or would you be like, hey,
I'd have to maybe do a second glance. If they had their backs turned, definitely. But I think since we've seen them on the Skype, I've seen them. You've seen them.
I've known the Twins. How I've met them here again. I've refereed college soccer, professional soccer and high school soccer for 30 years. Refereed thousands of players. I refereed them in college when they were out at St. Francis University in Pennsylvania, and that's the other tie. They played in Italy, Spain, and Brazil. They have Brazilian passport. Their father's from Brazil. And these two players have more passion and energy than I've ever met. And I've refereed them in college, and we've connected ever since. So I've known them for well over 2 years. But to answer your question, I know them well enough. I know their moves well enough. I can spot them. Pretty
it's
quick.
Interesting. My father's an identical twin. And when you have a twin that close to you in your family, you almost have a superpower where I can immediately tell two twins apart. Immediately, at first glance, I can notice like something immediately, and they could come up to me out of the blue, and I'll know exactly which one is which, and it always drives me nuts whenever people. And I guess maybe I'm kind of biased because I have a twin in the family, but it drives me. Well, it drives me nuts when people say, "Oh, the twins" or "one of the twins." It's like, take the goddamn time to learn who's who because they're two different people. Yeah. And it's interesting to me that people they don't take the time, and I don't know if it's because if I get aggravated because I have a twin in the family, and I can instantly pick up on that, and maybe other people just aren't as perceptive. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you know them, like you said, you've been around them. I mean, I know him now just from the Skype, so I'll be with him there. I mean, I'm really excited again.
Have you started watching soccer more?
Yeah, I actually have.
Do you think that
I watched their highlights? I was amazed. I'm like.
Do you think there's more connection to music stylistically in soccer, because they often call soccer poetry in motion?
Yeah.
Poetry is somewhat lyrical.
I mean, it's definitely, again, I'll say this again, sports and music intertwine like no other. I mean, you listen to music to get pumped up. You want to get pumped up before a match, before a game, even if it's practice. So that's what I really feel like this project is going to get. And again, it's telling a whole story about it. When you can give a song and tell a story, it's going to intrigue people more, and they're going to be like, okay, who are these twins? Who's this Jordan York guy? That's what I want to get out of this.
Sure. Matt Gajtka was on earlier in the program. He's the Pirates beat writer for DK on PittsburghSports.com, and he mentioned the NFL films and the music that added to that. I honestly don't know if the NFL films would have taken off with any kind of popularity if it was not for that music. That kind of the music itself almost told the story of what was going on the field.
Yeah, I mean, they have the jock jams and stuff. It's dedicated to just pump up music. That's what I used to listen to before my T-ball games and stuff when I was younger. So.
And Brian, one thing with this project is that this has not been done before.
Okay.
I think big, and like I said, I can't predict. He can't predict. None of us can predict how big this is going to get.
Sure.
We did a press release last Thursday morning. We're reaching out to a lot. We're going to release it early August, like August 6th, 5th or 6th, somewhere in that time frame. But can you talk about a little bit about the song it's entitled? And
well, that's what I was going to ask.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Tell us, what story are you telling?
Just basically, it's kind of weird because when I was doing this, it was the we can dream thing. That's how I am. People told me my whole career, Jordan, you'll never make a name for yourself, this and that, you're wasting your time. Here I am now, and it's kind of they were denied, playing and went through all this, stuff to do to get to where they're at, and it's kind of I told my story through their eyes, but I told it, what happened with them, but I can still relate to it because it's that struggle story.
When did you start taking off in your career? When did you start getting to that point where you? I mean, it's always going to be a struggle because you're always trying to get to that next level. But when did you finally kind of?
I would honestly say probably about 2 years ago when I started to get bigger shows.
And how old are you now?
25.
Okay, so you were 23. Yeah, I mean, I'm turning 30 in September, and you mentioned about the people telling you, that you can't get it or whatever. And there's a song that's out there, 21 Pilots.
Yeah,
and
if you can turn back time, or the Stressed Out one.
The Stressed Out one, yeah. And I think about that one, and I'm thinking, they say, oh, it's time to make money because you're an adult. Hey, you need to pay the bills, and you're just like, no, I'm gonna do this. And there is that struggle that people have, and I think it's interesting that I don't always think of that when you think of athletes. I do. Maybe because I'm so around the music industry, you always think of the struggling artists trying to get there. But that is true in sports. It can be there as well.
That's what I was just telling him on the way down here. Is like people don't realize that it takes one thing to change your whole career, your whole life. It's like so many times, I wanted to quit because, I was going through stuff, stressed out. I'm stressed out, every day, but I know that it's going to be worth it, and it's already been worth it because my music's taken me places that I would have never thought it would have. So, and now I'm focusing on a more national level than just Pittsburgh, and I really think like this Miami project is going to be the start, of a lot of good things.
So, Mike, where did you come up with this idea? Why did you come up with this idea?
That's a great question. A lot of people think it was a crazy idea, but we're sitting here, and after a month of negotiating, I just thought because it's a unique story. But on a sidebar, I do all the Twins social media.
Okay.
But their passion is for soccer. I mean, I have not met more players who have more passion and more dedication to play at the professional level. They're in with a new franchise, Miami FC in the North American Soccer League. One of the Twins, Connor, is hurt right now. Calvin is getting a lot of playing time as a rookie. But to answer your question is that the opportunity, I just thought, what can I do to help? I like to think outside the box. But ultimately, I'm thinking music, because one thing with Jordan in his career, I mean, Wiz and Mac Miller started out at the same time, and I think he's well on track to be there. If you looked at it, looked at his song, you can follow him on Twitter, Jordan York, Jordan York Music, correct, on Twitter. He just did the Pittsburgh song. It's got close to 300,000 or 400,000 hits.
That's what really helped me, like making stuff that people can connect with,
and
that like really, that got the media's attention. It it even got people who aren't from Pittsburgh, who are in other states in America. They're like, hey, I love Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh's everywhere. I mean, there's a Permanis in South Beach. We know that.
Well, I was just going to say that. Here again, I'm biased towards Pittsburgh, and I've been talking to the Permanis owner, who was originally from Pittsburgh, started in the Strip District, a Penn State graduate.
Yes.
I'm calling him after the show to finalize all the details. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but he's going to let us use his location.
Okay.
This is hot news.
There's
breaking right here on the River's Edge, of course.
There's 3 Permanis in Miami-Dade, Broward County. He has one right on Fort Lauderdale Beach that is modeled after the one in the Strip District that he worked at.
I didn't even know that.
It's the same with the murals and everything?
The same murals, the same, and he's going to let us use his location to film inside. And a little plug, I'm biased. I mean, Jordan has his own Terrible Towels here.
Nice.
So
cool.
We're going to actually wave Terrible Towels doing this. So it's more of a Pittsburgh-Miami connection. So when people see it, there's going to be Permanis in the video at some sort. We've got to figure out the details, but that's the uniqueness of this. So no matter where you go, there's a Pittsburgh theme everywhere.
Very cool. Brian Crawford here on the River's Edge Radio Network, going into extra innings here at it's just about 11 a.m. and we have Jordan York and Mike McMullen here across the room from me here. And Jordan, we've talked about the Twins story. Tell me a little bit about your story.
Like my career story?
Both.
Yeah. Well, I mean, basically, when I first started, I don't consider myself just a rapper. That's why, like...
Well, you're not, and I was going to ask you, what genre do you could classify yourself as, because you're really unique.
I'm just me. I mean,
well, that's good. I like that.
I'm just like, I don't... I act. I eventually want to do comedy when I get a little bit older. I'm just an all-around entertainer, I can, if you give me a microphone, I basically can, intrigue the crowd, I guess you can say. But I started off, I didn't even do this in high school, and it kind of just started me having fun with it. And then my one buddy came back from Penn State, and he was like, hey, I have all this equipment, do you want to record? And I'm like, sure. And then I started putting out stuff on YouTube, and then 6 months later, I ended up in the newspaper and won a radio contest in California and started building a fan base and just stuck with it. I mean, the thing is that I'll tell anyone is you have to stick with it. I mean, that's with anything. I mean,
sure.
People think like there's like a secret to success unless you have...
Well, there is.
Yeah. Go ahead. What is it?
48 hours no sleep.
Okay. Yeah, that. But yeah, lots of nights like that. But
yes.
I mean, it's just I enjoy it. I think that's what people lose. That like I'm obviously there's a lot of business now, but I always still if I wasn't enjoying it, I wouldn't still be doing it, and that's like what propelled me to get to where I'm at. I've shared the stage with celebrities. I've done songs with celebrities. I've been able to take my music places. Mike came with this opportunity. I mean, I'm really excited for this. Like, I mean, when I tell you like this is like gonna be I think it's gonna take me national. I think because that's how I'm, and I'm gonna do whatever I can to make this song as big as
We've got a lot of goals because I mean, I think outside the box. I'll be damned as God's my witness. We're gonna make ESPN, and we're gonna make one of the late shows.
What are you getting out of this?
I get nothing.
Nothing.
He gets to join the entourage.
There you go.
I mean, look, I'm behind the scenes. I get absolutely nothing. What I get out of this is helping 3 young people promote themselves in their career.
Yeah, very cool. So, what inspired you to build your style of music? And not so much like, who's your musical inspiration, but like you have brought kind of different styles together to form your brand.
Yeah.
And I think that's unique. I like that about you.
That's the thing. Like, I didn't have a musical background, like.
But you had to have listened. Obviously, you're a fan of music, so
old school, definitely.
Are you somebody like I look at like like this network, and we have everything from hip hop to big band to bluegrass all on the same station. Was that you? Were you somebody who listened to all different types of music when you were younger? Classical music.
I listen to everything. I honestly could not tell you last time I listened to the radio. Like, I'll listen to like Pandora or something, but like sometimes I'll get in the shower and turn on like Marvin Gaye and listen to that type, or the Rolling Stones or something like that. Like, or sometimes I'll listen to rap music, mostly old school, because I like music with substance. So
yeah, and I agree, and I know myself. I got into talk radio actually because of how much I loathed traditional radio.
Yeah.
Because you just always heard like you could like Mark Madden, for example. He used to have music during his show. I could literally predict the next song that was going to be aired because it was literally the same playlist every day because he didn't care about the music. Not that he doesn't care about music. If you listen to him, he does. He just doesn't like the music they play on the X. And they probably were restrictive on what they could play anyways. So you kept hearing the same things over and over every day. And I grew to hate listening to music on the radio.
That's how the radio is. It's just repetitive. They'll play the top 40 songs, and that's pretty much it. That's why, I have a record player at my house. I'll go to the store, get records, and listen to people I don't even know. So I'm definitely old school.
Yeah, and I agree. And that's what drove me to talk radio. And then whenever we built this network, it is diverse for that reason because we want, our goal is to be able to listen to the network for 24 hours and not hear the same song twice. That's the goal that we're striving for here. So
it's a pretty cool place. I'll come hang out.
Well, just to give a little plug. What's your how can people follow you on social media?
Just at Jordan York Music on Instagram and Twitter, and then also / on Facebook. My name is Jordan York, and you can get my album Pittsburgh Living on iTunes, all the major outlets, music outlets, and I'm really looking forward to this upcoming project in Florida, and just going to be a household name. Just be on the lookout.
And to follow the twins, it's Calvin Resende on Twitter and Connor Resende 22 and Calvin J. Resende on Facebook and Connor S. Resende on Facebook. So, but Brian will have links up later.
Yeah, they're all we've tweeted them out and Facebooked them, so you can.
Just got to get that extra 30 seconds.
Yeah, just got to click them in.
Tuning in, we're on live, so if you want to wave.
Well, we're live in multiple places.
We're live on Facebook, one of the new Facebook mention features. A lot of people don't use it. I'm going to be using it in my double duty at the my next.
I'm trying to use it, but you know what? Facebook's such a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
And like I'm so aggravated with Facebook. I talked about this before on my show. They wanted me to get an app on my phone for pictures. Well, I've already got a Facebook app.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Apps do they want you to
I've
have?
already got a Facebook Messenger app. It doesn't work. I've already got a Facebook for Business app.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. None of their apps work. Why don't they actually fix one of their apps before they try to cram another one down your throat?
I just got Facebook mentions where you can combine all. Supposedly, I haven't used it yet. Because I'm going to be doing live updates of tweets and doing live from the Republican National Convention certain Sundays through Friday. So it's going to be insane.
Well, one thing too that like drives me nuts about it is, and I'm wondering if you experience this problem. I'll get like a notification on my phone about somebody who shared something for the River's Edge page. I go to click to open it, and it's like, can't open it.
Yeah, it
you
does.
Gotta go, it's
they
just like,
have weird guidelines. There's a lot of.
Well, no, they work.
Yeah.
The actual links work. You just can't utilize them.
Weird. I just like Facebook. The only reason I think it's a good platform is because everyone and their mother has one. Like my grandma has a Facebook.
Oh yeah, there's definitely.
So that's why I think it's the best social network. But I like Twitter just because it's like simple and you can just tweet your thoughts out. But
yeah, I agree. It's Twitter, I need to get better at Twitter because Twitter is the way to reach the masses. Facebook, if you're starting out, I think Facebook is probably the way to start because you get your friends and the friends of the friends and you can build quickly. But then it gets to a point where you've oversaturated on Facebook and you kind of need to look to...
You got to space it out.
Definitely. Yeah, to other venues. Now, do you use everything? Do you use the Instagram? Do you use...
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I try to... I'm not like... I'm on my phone, but I'm like to experience real life, so I definitely put down my phone a lot.
Yeah, I never put down my phone.
Yeah,
but
that's why I have a manager and stuff for. So that's what's good about it. I can just focus on being creative because that's all I want to do anyway. So.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's nice to be able to get to that point. What's next for you? What's the next step? Obviously, this is a big project for you.
Yeah, this project is definitely gonna be what I'm gonna be rolling into the fall with. I also have a lot of a big single that I really don't want to give up because it's gonna be cool. But I mean, this is my main focus right now. Like I'm not doing any shows this month. Like we're going down. This is my main focus to make this song. I'm gonna be in the studio tomorrow, and just see where it takes us. Like I said, hopefully we'll end up on Sports
This
Center.
was perfect timing because he just to give him a plug, he just did the Turner's Iced Tea one, and that took essentially 5 or 6 months to go hash out through all the legalese and proprietary rights. We did it in 34 days because, quite frankly, I'm an anal son of a bitch. And I think he'll attest to that, and his manager will attest to that too. Trust me, I am anal. When I want something, it's done, and it's going to be done right. And it was just looking at his schedule long term. Things happen for reasons, and it was just perfect timing, right place, right time. And we're going to do a release early August. Then we're probably going to go back down there the end of October because we want to do a release party in South Beach, but with the Twins soccer schedule, it's nearly never impossible, highly unlikely that we're going to get down there in August or September, but we're going to get down there late October to really do a release party in South Beach.
Well, is soccer, because I'm not as familiar with Major League Soccer. We don't have a Major League Soccer team here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, because the Riverhounds, they're pro, but they're like
they're pro, yes,
league.
but they're not.
To give a little education real quick. It's sort of like baseball.
Yes.
For example, like
the Altoona curve and things like that.
You have the Wheeling Nail, the Baby Penguins up in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton. That's like the AAA. You have the NHL. In Major League Soccer, you have the Major League Soccer, which you have 20 teams nationally, and in Canada, you have the USL, which the Riverhounds are a part of. But this is 19 years for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and let's see, they're 2-4 already. And sorry, a little sidebar. They've gone through 4 coaches in 2.5 years, sort of like the Cleveland Cavaliers did, and so forth.
So maybe they'll come out with a championship.
Well, good luck with that. But then you have the North American Soccer League, which they have 10 teams, basically 2 in Canada, 4 in Florida, Carolina, Indy. And with expansion to San Francisco next year. So there's 11 teams in the league right now. And really the NASL is better than the USL soccer, even though they only have 11 teams in the league. They play a spring and a fall schedule. So, and the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, they did very well. They lost to Orlando City in the U.S. Open Cup. So soccer's come on. Soccer's very big in Western Pennsylvania. Soccer's very big in South Florida with the Hispanic and Latino and multicultural communities, and soccer is a world sport. And I think once this happens and once we release this in early August, the sky's
I guess my question is, their schedule, obviously you said it's packed, and I understand that.
It's insane.
Yeah, no, I
they
definitely...
would have been on this morning, but they actually have training from 9:30 to 11:30, so that's why
and I understand that. I guess my question is, you look at like the British Premier League, where I know it's a different level, but my point is, they've got Premier League soccer, then they've got Europe soccer, all these other championships. Is the schedule in the United States are there other ventures that they do outside of the normal regular season? Do they have other tournaments and things that they do all year round, or is there a little bit of a break for them?
They do. The All-Star game is coming up. The Major League All-Star game is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, the USL Soccer plays from April till mid-September. NASL starts early April, runs till early November. Major League Soccer in this country starts about March till mid-November. The argument is to try to get it on like the rest of the world, like what the EPL plays and so forth. You just saw Portugal beat France yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and at a time, for the European Championship. So soccer's big, and I think once international media sees this, the sky's the limit with this.
Jordan, are you ever confused by soccer because it is not the game itself, but just the logistics of the organization?
I love all sports.
I'll be quite honest.
Whatever, but I don't really.
I like soccer and I watch it, and I get into the.
That's why I'm excited to learn. I mean, I'm sure they'll be able to tell me some stuff.
No, I'm not trying to be demeaning. I mean, I like it, and I watch it, and even I watch Liverpool out in the Premier League, and Mike, you're giving a grimace. Are you not a Liverpool fan?
Look,
what are you? Are you a Man City fan, or
I
are you
like?
You're not an Everton fan, are you?
No, I like a lot of individual players. The Twins like a lot of individual players. But if there's one team that I follow, I mean, if it's Pittsburgh teams, absolutely, I follow everything. But one individual player, one individual team. I mean, I like Man U. I like Chelsea.
God!
Look, I like a lot, But the thing is,
he's cut off. Go ahead.
But if anybody's ever been to any type of even a second or third division game anywhere in Europe or even in Mexico, the atmosphere is unbelievable. I mean, hell, the Riverhounds barely have 500 people, for God's sake.
You know what, though? I will say their supporter section is definitely more adamant and more animated and more engaged than the drunk yinzers that stumble their way into Heinz Field.
I disagree.
I do not.
Well, it's all depending. Miami FC, they have a great fan section. It's called the Dade Brigade.
And they actually just followed me. I was about to.
Yeah. So they have these big drums, and they do a hell of a job.
I don't know. I look at that supporter section. They're there. They're animated. They're engaged. And then you've got drunk yinzers who can't. They're slurring together in Heinz Field. You got freaking Pirate fans doing the woo, and then you've got the Penguin fans cutting out early in the third period during a playoff game. I think Pittsburgh honestly has some of the worst fans in the country. Fans that break their arm patting themselves on the back as they leave every game early just to beat traffic.
We've got a unique type of fan base. I think the one thing is
a fan base that brings the Steelers to the lowest attendance in the year after 2 seasons of 500. Not even losing seasons.
But this year we just won the Stanley Cup, and the one thing is, and that's why I reached out to this Permane Brothers owner. There is a Pittsburgh bar anywhere in this country that you can go to, and the best thing about it is that there's 3 freaking Permane Brother bars in Miami-Dade and Broward County, and we're going to be participating in one of them, which is phenomenal. So the one thing is, especially on the Steelers side, you can go to any major city, even smaller cities, and find a Pittsburgh bar and watch a Steelers game somewhere in this country.
This is true, but I think that our nationwide fans many times are better than the fans here at home.
I just think I'll put my point on it. I don't say that we have bad fans. I just think they're spoiled. So if we don't win the championship, it's the season was thrown out. Like, you can't win the championship every year. And I just think that Pittsburgh fans are spoiled, and they just hold everyone to a higher standard. And they are drunks too.
Well, good point.
I'll agree with that.
Yes,
good point. I got to give my alma mater a plug, the University of Pittsburgh. I mean, look.
I'm a Pitt fan too.
I'm a Pitt grad, but
let's be honest.
Let's be honest. I mean, we finally got a good coach, but he may end up bolting because we've gone through more coaches in the last 30 years.
I hope not. I like him.
That's because Pitt is a stepping stone school.
I mean, Narduzzi. I mean, look, the goals are to win 10 games. Hell, we haven't won 10 games since like 1987 or 88, for God's sakes.
And we beat all the good teams and then lose to like Youngstown State or something.
Correct. But at the end of the day, I mean, people say, "Oh, well, if we go 8-4 this year, 8-4 is a bunch of bullshit. It's rubbish." I mean, you got to win 10 games every year, and we hire this guy from Vandy who's in his mid-50s. And I'll give Kevin Stallings a chance on the men's basketball side, but you need a young up and coming coach. I mean, this guy is on his downward cycle of his career. And look, you win the ACC and win 25 games here, and God forbid if we make the second round of the NCAA tournament on Pitt basketball side. Oh, that's right. Oh, we can't. We can't because we lose to mid majors every round.
I won't get into Pitt Stadium this week. We'll talk about that later. Jordan, one more time. Where can people find you? Where can people listen in? Where can people buy?
iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, and at Jordan York Music, and on Twitter and Instagram.
We'll try to bring you back after the event so we can maybe we'll play the video here on the video side or get people to watch it. So
whatever we can do to help.
All right, sounds good. We're going to be back in just a minute. We're going to wrap the show up, and we're going to have a one-on-one with Mike McMullen. He's doing double duty today here on the Rivers Edge Radio Network. All right, we're back to wrap it up here on the Rivers Edge Radio Network. Double duty. Mike McMullen, we'll move the camera here. All right on you. Focusing right on you, Mike.
All right, thanks, Brian. Good to be back.
Thank you for organizing that. That was pretty sweet. So
I appreciate you having him on, me on. Unfortunately, the Twins couldn't be on because they actually have practice and training from.
Maybe we'll get them on next time.
Absolutely.
That would be cool. So you're on your way to the Republican National Convention coming up in Cleveland.
Leave on Sunday.
The mistake on the lake.
The mistake on the lake, and I can tell you I am doing a Pittsburgh theme. I've got my 5 jerseys picked out. Unfortunately, I mean, I'm a Pirates fan, but I just can't fit any in because there's 4 nights on the convention floor. How I'm starting it off, and the 5 that I'm taking, I haven't picked which jerseys what dates. I'm biased. I want to wear all my Penguins jerseys, but some of the jerseys I have, like Recchi and so forth, they don't play for them anymore. So I've got Hines Ward, James Harrison, Roethlisberger, Big Ben, and Crosby. And also another thing is that I'll be having a terrible towel. I'll be waving it from the convention floor. Actually, I took, even though this is Jordan York's towel, actually I'm taking it, just to give him a plug down there. But also I've got a coal miner's hat because what people don't realize is that the coal industry in southwestern Pennsylvania is huge. And maybe not here in Allegheny County, but where the 12th Congressional District is that I'm representing, Cambria County, Somerset County, coal is huge out there.
Okay.
And also I've got a good friend of mine's who I played soccer with. He's a volunteer firefighter for West Deer Township, number 289, Ronnie Brown. I'm using his firefighter hat, which is all decked out in steel attire. So people will know where the hell I'm from. And I'm purposely going into the Maryland delegation and the Ohio delegation to piss them off and wave the terrible
There we
towel.
go. You know what you really need? You need to bring this, the cowbell.
Well,
wave that around.
And purposely, I'm going to go into the Northern California delegation. Oh, that's right. Who did we just beat? San Jose who? With the Penguins. So believe me, rest assured, people will know where the hell Mike McMullen is from.
So how does this work? How does the convention work? What do you expect? Do you expect any trickery? Because you still hear rumors that
Brian,
they're going to try to pull something.
I've been reading a lot of stuff. I mean, social media, how accurate, trust and verify, or really check and verify multiple times. It's going to start off, going to be up there early Sunday afternoon. I will be there Sunday night through Friday morning, 5 nights in Cleveland. The thing is with Cleveland, even though the mistake by the Lake and the Browns, Cleveland's a great city. Cleveland is a lot like Pittsburgh and Cincinnati.
They were just rated the #1 metal city in the country.
They've got a great bar district. Really downtown Cleveland's a lot like downtown Pittsburgh. Yes, it's Cleveland. I know Cleveland like the back of my hand, so it's not like I haven't been to all the major places. We're kicking off with Sunday night, the Pennsylvania Republican Party and our delegation. We've got the entire Rock and Roll Hall of Fame rented out for 4 hours, and the Doobie Brothers are playing.
Okay.
So that's where it's going to start Sunday night. But what do I anticipate? There's a lot of these rallies.
Are you nervous actually going there because after what happened in Dallas?
Well, I've been telling some of my counterparts across the Commonwealth who are first-time convention goers. I'm going to carry. I said, look. My advice to you, believe me, I believe in the Second Amendment. I personally have a concealed weapons permit, but I'm not taking it. I'm not stupid. I'm not crazy because people who've never been to a convention before, you got to understand is that the hotel, you have armed cops there 24/7. Every bus that you go on will have 2 to 3 cops on every bus. And it's sort of like a presidential motorcade or detail. We got stuck in the parkway, sitting down. Every entrance, every on ramp, there are cops. They've got it shut down, and there's one place in, one place out.
Okay.
So security is tighter than tight. I mean, if there's two places to be in the next month and a half, is the DNC and the RNC, because it will be.
That actually makes sense, because you think about it. It's not just police. You've got the Secret Service involved. Everybody is.
Every agency and then some. You have every county, local, state. They bring cops in. You've got ATF, FBI, Secret Service, CIA. You name it, they're there.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to. And there are more people. Who knows? There might be special ops and so forth. It is safe. I mean, yes, are there going to be protesters? Yes, are there going to be incidents? Absolutely, because with all the unfortunate thing that happened in Dallas, this past 72-hour news cycle and so forth, they're having paid protesters and so forth, Soros and company. But on the flip side, there's a lot of biker groups, trucker groups who are pro-Trump people saying, we're going there, we're not delegates, we're not guests, but we're going there just to protect people, just to do our due diligence and to help, so you're going to have, I could see a lot of clashing, and I can tell you, I'm going to be right in the middle of it, because you have a right to assemble peacefully and to, talk about, both sides. And look, Trump's going to be the nominee. I mean, there's a lot of scuttlebutt from the Wisconsin delegation. Oh, we're going to try to stop Trump and this and that. Look, even if they try, he's over about 1,542 committed delegates. 1,273 was the magic number. Look, I mean, if they do a roll call vote, who are they going to nominate? I mean, because if they do try to have a broker convention and nominate somebody else, there's going to be more pissed off people. Look, he's the nominee. We started with 17. The voters have spoken. Like it or not, the voters have spoken in all the caucus and primary states. We started with 17, got it down to 1. And look, the voters have spoken. And it's just like on the Democratic side. You got Bernie, and Bernie's supposed to endorse. Now you got Jill Stein from the Green Party saying, oh, I'll withdraw from the nomination if you run as the Green Party person. If that was the case, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Bernie isn't independent, and he's very...
Well, also that I know he's very unhappy with the... apparently, he was pushing for them to make changes in
the platform.
Their platform towards the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Correct.
And they will not do it.
There's always deals cut in the sense of, look, everybody needs a seat at the table on both sides of the aisle. You shouldn't close the door.
Well, that's what I think is interesting in this situation is Trump and Sanders agree in many ways on the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
They do, and it's I don't want to get into policy or anything, but to have your former opponents, whether they speak on Monday night at the convention prime time or 2 o'clock on Monday afternoon, at least they have a seat at the table. I mean, now I'm sure like Cruz, and I don't know the logistics yet, Cruz and Rubio, they might get a primetime speech at the convention because I think it would be important to show party unity because that's what they want. But unfortunately, you look at 4 years ago, they didn't let Dr. Ron Paul speak. And if they were going to, it was going to be like at 2 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon when nobody's...
Big mistake, because his fans then felt disenchanted,
Correct.
disenfranchised, and they didn't show up.
You have the Never Trump movement. You have the Bernie supporters who just can't vote for Trump, can't vote for Hillary. So who are you going to vote for? I mean, he's not going to be on the ballot unless he decides ultimately to run as the Green Party person. And you know what? That would be an interesting dialogue if he did. I mean, Jill Stein, I believe Steiner said she would, seriously would consider a withdrawal if Bernie would run. But I'll tell you what, it would be an interesting ticket if you had Bernie as the Green Party, Gary Johnson as the Libertarian, and Trump and Hillary. Mm-hmm. You would have very diverse, anytime there's a third-party candidate, a major third-party candidate, that ultimately hurts Republicans. I'm not going to get into how or why, but it's going to be an interesting dialogue. Am I concerned for safety? Look, I mean, something can happen right here in downtown Millville. It could happen right in downtown Cleveland. But I tell you what, there's going to be more cops and more people, more good guys carrying guns than the bad guys.
Yeah,
that I can tell you.
Very true. Right, I think that's it.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having Jordan and I on, and thanks for
absolutely
promoting this. And I'll be doing live call-ins and segments next week from Cleveland.
Reminding you at home that you can become a part of the Pittsburgh music scene by subscribing to us on Patreon. You become our patron, and for $5 a month, your favorite broadcaster will mention your name on air. So definitely take a look at that. We've got Mike Sasson premiering The Mike Sasson Show. You've heard the promos. Great stuff. Hilarious guy. He's been on Q92. He's been on 93.7 The Fan. He's been all over. Now he's here at riversedgepgh.com live starting Tuesday the 19th. So tune in right here. Watch him live. Listen to him live every Tuesday. And don't forget, this Saturday we will be extending my show, Brian Crawford. I will be joined by Jay Cooper every first and third Saturday. So check that out. Be sure. Cannot miss it. Great guy. Hilarious. Even though I kind of forgot about who he was because he disappeared for so long. But that's all right. He's back. So check it out this Saturday here at riversedgepgh.com. Peace out.